Counterfeit money to get quarters from change machine. The vending machine at my school would malfunction if you put a 20 in it. Not only would it give you your 20 back, it would give you $1 in change and still give you your soda. Not counterfeit, but my mom would put quarters inside latex gloves and soak them in detergent. She would then use it on the machines at our apartment laundromat that had the coin slides. She would tightly pull the coin in the individual finger on the glove and put one in the slide one by one. She would then slide it and trick the machine to think the quarters went in, but the soaked glove came back with the coins every time. I don't remember ever really paying to do laundry. I worked at a print shop in the 1980s. One dude had a printing press at his house. He would print $20 bills. He would walk around NYC and stop in various bodegas. He would buy a packet of gum and get $19 of real money back as change. My buddy's dad said back in the late 70s him and his friends did something like this. His story ended with FBI at his school because apparently counterfeit money is a federal crime. Those old change machines were built very cheaply. The bill validator in them was garbage and could be fooled by a black and white one-sided copy of a bill. The owner of a laundromat accused me of doing that once and called the cops before bothering to check the machine. The police were not amused by her jumping the gun. Needless to say, I never went back there. When I was younger, I found out you can make a quarter out of a business card, and those shitty plastic candy machines will accept it if you fiddle with the knob. In college, a change machine in a vending area spit out $1.35 for the 4 years I was there. Never told anyone. Update: for those wondering, this was in the 90s. The vending machine and the change machine was all refilled by the same person who dumped the change from all the vending machines into a common container. He then refilled the machines from cases of product. There was zero inventory control. The cafeteria sold the same products, so all out of one big inventory, I guess. My brothers and I discovered a trick with the Reese's Pieces machine at our eye doctor office. If you put a quarter in, then start to turn it, it would spit out Reese's Pieces, and we still had our quarter, so we just kept turning it a little back and forth until my dad caught us. LOL, those places are just used to launder drug money anyways. Do you know that every printer adds micro dots in a unique pattern on every printed paper, exactly for those reasons? So counterfeit banknotes can be traced to the owner of the printer. When I was in high school, I could get the soda machine to dispense 2 20-ounce Pepsi bottles and give me my change back by pressing the Pepsi twice while simultaneously pressing the refund button. It worked about 70% of the time. Al Bundy would tether an invisible string to a dollar bill and slip it into a stripper's underwear at the strip club. He would then tug on it, getting his dollar back as she walked off stage. A full night's entertainment for $1. Repeat. A game machine at a hotel we were staying at was not working, so we started smacking it to try and make it work. To our surprise, the little compartment where all the coins were kept just popped open. We got scared though, so we just took enough change to buy some chocolate bars and ran out of there. //FBI just joined the chat //. I remember my friend told me when I was really young that her parents printed their own money. I never realized until much later what that might imply. Back in the 90s, my cousin was really into acting and 007 and spy stuff, so his mom decided that for Christmas, she was going to make him a briefcase of money. So she went to work and made copies upon copies of fake bills, and once in a while would change the serial numbers for some reason, authenticity. Fast forward a couple weeks, he was at his friend's father's store in the basement playing with the money, and the mother eventually did her son's laundry and found some counterfeit bills in one of the pockets. Thinking someone was using fake bills at the store, she called the Department of Treasury. They tracked the source and they had to confiscate 3 trash bags worth of bills and catalog every bill's serial number so they wouldn't be circulated again. It's a fun story my uncle tells at the holidays. We used to do that with a dollar with thick, clear tape on end, both sides. It was called the rip dollar. Worked especially well on very fine machines. In college I found out that if I put a dollar in, got my drink, then hit the change back lever, it would give me my dollar back. Did this for 2 years and never told anyone. Perfect for hangover mornings. Hopefully another lucky student figured it out. In junior high, this was back in the 1970s, some kids in our graphics class decided they'd try to make some counterfeit $20 bills just for fun, and not to try and pass them off. They made a few of them, but stupidly left the glass negative plates in the darkroom, and the teacher found them and he had no choice but to call the police, who then called in the Secret Service and they had a big investigation. I don't think they ever caught the kids that did it, but they shut down the darkroom after that incident. I was just thinking about a similar topic yesterday. Like 10 years ago in middle school we popped open a newspaper machine at Jack in the Box and it had probably close to $30 in quarters and a handful of slugs fake coins. Any of you criminal masterminds have any suggestions on how I can turn a profit on an unlimited amount of office supplies? Secret Service handles counterfeiting. U.S. Secret Service has joined the chat. Using Chuck E. Cheese tokens for tolls because they were the exact same size and weight of a quarter. Check out the Breaking Vegas shows. There was one dude that made casino tokens. He would bring them in and cash them in. Another dude figured out how to make some sort of thing that you could stick up into a machine and fool it to pay out. There was a guy passing counterfeit 1s and 5s out west for many years and never got caught until he tried to pass a counterfeit $100 bill. Got 20 years in the federal penitentiary. Nobody checks a 1 or a 5 to see if it's counterfeit. They figured he passed a few $100s a week for years and would have never been caught if he never got cocky. People earn their living from those machines. And not some big distributor, usually a local guy. Cheers. Modern print machines will put a stripe through a bill if it detects it's money. Don't feel guilty my guy UJ securing THA bag. My school's vending machine would sometimes drop multiple chocolate milks. Only worked with the chocolate milk but if you selected it there was a chance you could cut up to 7 milks. As a kid I used to hammer down nickels. The arcade would accept nickels if you hammered them into the rough shape of a quarter. We used to have fun playing arcade games that way. No way we could have played games with actual quarters. We never had any money. We stopped after a while. It's sure the reason but I'd guess the arcade was getting wise and or our parents got wise and stopped us. My old roommate's mom was arrested for counterfeiting once. She'd go to bars buy a drink with a $100 then pocket the change. She'd do it with a couple bartenders then move on to the next bar. Till one night she got too drunk and stayed at one place. I worked at a car wash once, the machines took loonies and toonies. They would jam up. I worked nights so sometimes there would be about $40 to $60 in a single machine. I switched the change out with the petty cash I had in my pouch. I worked there for over a year and never got caught. My boss never suspected me and would talk to me about how he thought his full-time days guy was scamming him. My boss was a huge douchebag. He once flew to America and cheated on his pregnant wife. He would brag about it. Eventually, the other woman's husband contacted his wife and he got divorced. We used to pour salt water into vending machines to quickly erode the metal that detects change. It made the machine think you put an endless supply of change in. Keep hitting the cha-GE lever while pushing the buttons and you could easily empty the machine of all its money and all its pop. Kept the change and sold the pop at my local skate ramp for a quarter. You could get up to $75 a machine and it worked 80% of the time. With roughly a 20% chance of getting a good shock in the process. I once knew of a change machine that when you put in $1, it was supposed to give 2 quarters, 4 dimes, and 2 nickels. One day it started dispensing quarters instead of dimes. It stayed that way for a while before it was fixed. I'd imagine the owner lost his ass there. My friend and I at school would file 10 pence pieces down into 20 pence pieces I use in our school vending machine. We did it in our engineering classes. We thought we were full-on gangsters back then, lol. Unless the machine is still from the 80s or 90s, it's not going to work anymore. US currency is easily forged junk. It's almost as if the government want people to do it. George Floyd got murdered by a cop when he was reported to have passed a counterfeit bill. I used Necco wafers in place of quarters at toll booths. Have to be careful throwing them in the basket because they break easily. If you hadn't said dollar, I would think this was my dad's post. His father was a doctor, so they had a good printer, so he would print small amounts, crunch them up a bit and buy sweets, lol. There was a vending machine at a senior home. My buddy would stick his hand in through the bottom and twist the corkscrew-shaped holder of the items. He was able to unwind stuff from the bottom 2 levels and we'd get all sorts of goodies. I stood lookout, and it was thrilling. Eventually I think it was fixed. Not sure how we even figured it out. We'd mostly get gum and some other lame stuff, but still a crazy rush. LOL, this is like those gaming glitch to get more money. When I was younger, I rode the BART train system in the Bay Area. I accidentally put a ticket with extra change into the dollar bill slot. It registered as $20. Did that a few times before my conscience got the better of me. A vending machine at my school would dispense an extra item when you selected from a certain area due to it falling or hitting the glass next to it. My friend and I abused the hell out of it. We used floor tile roughly cut with scissors into the shape of a quarter and used them in washing machines at our apt complex. After several weeks a notice was posted saying they were going to have the perp arrested, blah blah blah. That just gave us the idea to teach everyone how to cut the tiles. Next they threatened to shut down the laundry and eventually they just put in new machines, but we had cheap laundry for a year or so. I used to use Australian $1 in place of New Zealand $2 in vending machines. Their size is comparable. Dude, my parents did the same thing in high school. They ended up getting caught and had to pay everything back x2, but I makes a funny story. I was an RA at my university's student apartments my junior and senior year, and while I was alone there over Christmas break I would go to the same soda machine several times per day, because quarters would come out of the change return but still be counted and added to your total on the machine. With one measly quarter I stole 2 large cardboard boxes full of miscellaneous bottles of soda, never told a soul. A conviction for the offense carries up to 20 years in prison. CSN I get S tutorial PLS.